should do it. Alright. Well, hello, people of the internet. Welcome to another episode of Cosplay Bites, a show about conventions, cosplay, and all the extra nerdy bits and bytes. Today, I'm happy to have a new episode with someone completely new to give a sort of, a perspective on a con that I've only heard constantly good things about from a handful of friends in the cosplayer and creator space. So, I have with me Toaster. That's his
Hello.
handle. Yep. Okay. Just doing a quick level check. Bump us both up. Bump the background music down a little bit.
Always important to have good levels,
Yeah.
whether you're doing with audio or light.
Yeah. So, let me just fix one thing quick while we're just talking. So, well, while I'm messing around with this, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself? Like how you got involved with the convention space, cosplay, if anything.
Sure.
Floor is yours.
Thank you. So I'll go ahead and take that in order then. Specifically for MAGFest, I got involved. Very close friend of mine, one of my groomies, as I refer to them, he had invited me to go to MAGFest one year. Based off of everything I can find, it looks like that was 2017. I went wandering around, I didn't sleep, and I played video games for 4 straight days. I fell in love with it, came back the next year, and at that point, I knew a couple more people, including someone that's working in the arcade space, Telemonster, if anyone knows the name. And I ended up helping them do breakdown, got invited to be a volunteer again the next year after, and kind of worked my way up in staff. At the same time, I was also doing lighting stuff. They needed someone that knew how to do lighting stuff, and that's kind of how I got into being the arcade AV manager. For cosplay, I kind of got into that in an interesting way. I happen to have this like luau tiki girl outfit from volunteering at a bike event again to try and raise money for fighting MS-150 for multiple sclerosis called MS-150. Yeah, so I heard people did cosplay when I was going to like my first convention, NecroCon, and so I was like, oh, I have a luau girl outfit. I'll go and wear that. This was the middle of November in Virginia Beach, so not extremely cold, but still pretty cold.
Sure.
I'm sitting there wearing like a coconut bra and a grass skirt and shorts. That was cold.
Oh boy, I bet, yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. Just a lot of word of mouth, friends telling me this, that, and the other, and I was just like, yeah, I'm down for a good time. Let's go and have fun.
Okay. And then I guess you've just been going to conventions ever since?
Pretty much. I did take a little bit of a break. There was a period of time where I moved from Virginia Beach up to Northern Virginia, where I took a break from a couple of things. I wanted to seriously focus on the career because I wasn't happy with the position I was at, and I was always raised with the idea that, well, if you're not happy about something, you gotta do something about it because no one's just gonna hand you what you want on a plate, you know?
Yep.
So took a bit of a break there. I was also just kind of tired of anime focused conventions, So when I got invited to go to MAGFest, I'll admit I was a little hesitant at first, but the Gurumi, he knows how to convince me of a good time. So when I went and I was just like, wait, I can just like enjoy music and play video games for 4 straight days, and that's literally all she wrote.
Okay. Yeah. So, for those that are not aware, MAGFest, as you've briefly touched on it, it's a convention held in the Maryland, D.C. area, primarily at the Gaylord Hotel. I only know of it because, well, as I mentioned, I know a lot of cosplayers and content creators that go there almost yearly, whether in cosplay or not, just to play a load of video games or go retro gaming shopping. But I've been to Capcom, which typically comes in pretty close to after the convention itself. It's held in the same resort, same hotel, same convention center. So, it's pretty much just retro games, modern games, and that's about as far as I know about it. So, we had talked a little earlier prior to setting this up, and you mentioned that you were going as as a staff member, not
Yep.
so much as an enforcer, like in like PAX East terms. Like you were telling me, it's you said
So
audio visual kind of thing, if I remember correctly.
yeah, so I keeping in mind I haven't been to PAX or PAX East. Would like to, but terminology I'm not super familiar with theirs. But effectively, what I do at MAGFest is I will arrive typically either Monday or Tuesday. I will help unload all the trucks with a focus on anything going into arcade, which arcade, for those that don't know or kind of curious, we take over an entire convention hall, Expo Hall D usually, and we load in a lot, and I mean a lot of arcade machines. I would say the number is somewhere easily in the hundreds, maybe if I'm gonna give a rough estimate, maybe like 300 to 400. I help load those in, and once we uncover the lighting related boxes and the power bin, as we refer to it, I will then shift focus to getting all of the stage lighting equipment set up. We actually use a fair amount of stage lights in the arcade help desk and throughout the arcade. The help desk, we'll go and primarily use the stage lights so that the help desk attendee or the help desk volunteers and staff members have a lot of light. So you'll see those white lights, and I'm responsible for getting those set up. This year, we also had the addition of 4 Chauvet Intimidators, which I'm glad to say I own.
Okay.
I went and put those up on top of the truss, which that's the big metal structure that the help desk is surrounded by and kind of helps, basically makes the metal backbone of the help desk. And I had my lights on top of those, just kind of scanning around the entire expo hall, putting out pretty colors, pretty lights and shapes, just running through the various effects of them. In addition to those, we also will have scattered throughout the arcade floor a number of stage lights to go and provide more aesthetic focused lighting, where there'll be slow fading colors, usually against either a wall or some of the column sections in the arcade, just to kind of provide some cool ambience so that someone could be like, man, that was a good game, I'm just gonna chill out. Oh, there's some cool colors over there.
Yeah,
Huh.
sure.
It's really pretty. Yeah. In addition to that, we actually we reintroduced an old crowd favorite, which was our digital signage. Give some information about arcade rules and little tips and stuff, as well as the running schedule, the running tournament schedule of various tournaments and games and whatnot in their location. And we actually had a new addition this year, something that I've been working fairly hard on throughout the year, was trying to get a streaming project of sorts set up so that we could capture audio and video from some of the games in the arcade. We ended up selecting Killer Queen because traditionally the Killer Queen caps will have a significant crowd around them.
Okay.
And we kind of wanted to go and get the crowd away from the machines and give them somewhere to sit. So, I sold the rest of the arcade team on the idea that if you put the thing that the people want to see and you put it over by the chairs, you're highly incentivizing them to go and sit and watch people play. And it worked really well. We're going to expand on that for next year. But, I like leaving some things for surprise. So if anyone's interested, you're going to have to come next year and find out.
Okay. So you tried to... So you were setting up software and stuff to stream one of the games and, I guess the audience of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
So was that broadcasted through, a MAGFest Twitch channel that they had up and running, or...
Not this year. We're actually going to try and do that next year. So there are a couple of different departments. The ones that run the Twitch channel, depends on which Twitch channel. There's the MagFast Twitch channel, which that gets run specifically by the MagFast department. But the MagFest Twitch channel, if I remember correctly, gets handled by our broadcast ops team. And they do pretty good job getting that stuff out there. They are also... if you were in one of the Gaylord rooms this year or last year, they were also the ones that were responsible for all of the MagFest video entertainment that was on the TVs in the hotel rooms.
Okay. So you were able to stream Killer Queen with an audience. So where did that end up being broadcasted?
Unfortunately, it was only broadcasted in the arcade locally. What I ended up doing, I captured I used a capture card to go and capture the HDMI signal from one of the Killer Queen machines, and I sent that into, believe it or not, a Steam Deck. Had that displayed via OBS, and I just had OBS go and send it out as full screen projection mode to a TV that was sitting in front of a couple of rows of chairs.
Okay. No. Now it's becoming clear what you actually did. I got it. So you broadcasted basically to a giant screen so people could watch instead of people huddling around their arcade. Got it.
Yeah, we had a few setbacks from what I initially envisioned, but I managed to still hack something together so that I could go and present something cool to the people, with the idea being, if we don't hit 100%, that's fine. If we only hit 20%, that's still fine, because, that 20% is still 20% more than we had last year, and we can always build on something.
Sure. Yeah. So you got your duties, you do all of that. So when everything's all set up, do you typically man a little battle station to control the lights and the ambiance, or do you ever have any time, free time to roam around and check out the vendors and all that sort of stuff?
I do actually. So,
Oh,
yes to both questions. Um, you'll actually see what I refer to as my lighting console on one of the corners of the arcade help desk. There'll be a big monitor there. This year I had my APC 40 Mark II along with my Moonlander, a laptop, and some various other equipment that I require in order to go and run the lights. Um, since since I'm doing stage lighting in a non-music area, like an arcade, it's more, it's better for, it's better to create effects that are slow moving and change very little over time than it is to create a bunch of effects throughout the festival. Because the idea with that is in the arcade, there's so much different noise. Like, you have a whole bunch of pinball machines going, you have thousands of buttons getting hit all at the same time, you have all of the rhythm games. So, because you have all of that, and it's creating, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful sounds ever, but it's not something that is following like a rhythm and a beat. So if you go and do like slow changing effects, it's not going to create this big drastic change between that sound and the light. You have this nice balance between slow rhythmic changes and the chaotic noise of the arcade. And it's kind of a contrast to what you would have for, say, a concert or something, because there you would want like a lot of quick effects that you can change in a specific amount of time following either a particular number of beats or whatever have you. um, so I'll go and get that set up and get it look into something that I like, and get some feedback from some other people, make sure things are pointed, and at that point I'll pop in and out periodically throughout the fest. But I'm pretty free to go and like run around and do whatever it is I would like, as long as I pay attention to any communications that come from the help desk. We actually had one this year where someone was pointed out like, hey, one of the lights is making it, like, we have people saying that it's making it really hard to go and see anything with this machine. So, and someone tagged me, I saw it, I went running down to the arcade and I'm like, are you this person? Yeah? I'm Lance, you have summoned me. And they're like, oh, yeah, yeah, this guy was telling us about the lights. And, got feedback from the guy. I'm like, all right, cool, you're with me. We're going to go grab a ladder. So we went and grabbed a ladder, went and pointed the light to make sure that it was still providing that help desk white light, since it was one of those, but made sure to angle it such that it wasn't going and drowning out any of the color or screen for the, believe it or not, it was the Japanese train simulator game, which I adore this machine.
okay.
It lets you simulate driving an actual Japanese like train like you would at a metro or subway or something.
Bullet train?
It's I'm not sure they have the bullet train. I don't know if they have the Shinkansen, but definitely one of their like standard commuter trains.
I mean, I've no doubt that I'm probably going to be riding one of those in a couple of months.
Oh, you definitely should. Japan they have fantastic commuter services.
From what I've heard, just throughout my life, from people that have been there, yeah, I don't want to dive too much into it because,
Yeah.
we're going, and I'm hoping maybe I'll have enough info and stories to tell to do a podcast episode about that later on after the trip.
Oh, I'm sure you will. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah. I gotta be honest with you. Nothing against you. the stuff you said, it's fascinating. I'm like 80% sure some of that went over my head because I'm not an audio-visual person. However, I have family members that do this stuff for a living, so I am curious if they, get a chance to listen to this episode, they might understand what the fuck you're talking about. So, that's good. This is good.
Well, if you ever want to learn, I'm glad to go and teach other people.
Sure. I got too much on my plate.
I have that same problem. There's 5.5 million things I want to do. Crap, I only have 24 hours in a day, and I have to at least sleep during some of it.
Exactly. 100%. Am I going to get sleep tonight? Who knows? It's Sunday tomorrow. I don't care. We're still in the weekend.
I'll keep my fingers crossed that you can.
Oh. Okay, so, were you able to go... I'm just trying to run through my head. Any panels that were happening, were you able to attend? Or was it just wandering around, checking out the cosplay scene, checking out the vendors, buying stuff?
I definitely got to check out some of the panels.
Okay.
The one that stuck out the most to me was, believe it or not, had to do with audio. There was a panel hosted, I want to say it was in Panels 2, over by Jam Space, and it was about sound treatment of a room and the various tools that you can use to go and figure out, like, all right, this is my room, these are the audio characteristics, and these are the particular wavelengths that are either going to be really reflected and create a sound that you're not really going for, various treatment solutions that you can go and use. I actually need to... I got a picture of the guy's contact info. I want to go and send him an email and find out where he put up the presentation, because I would really love to go through that again. I have a theater room, actually in the room next to me, where, I like listening to my vinyl records, I like watching movies and whatnot, all off of CRT with an HDMI input, and so making sure that room sounds really nice, it's important to me. I probably don't have to because I enjoy the way it sounds in there, but, the pursuit of a better tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in your case, that kind of panel would be useful, because then I'm thinking in my head, as you're describing it, who the hell would use that kind of panel? And then I'm thinking, probably people that want to take their streaming to the next level if they stream from a very specific room to get the audio just right, like bouncing off of their walls and all that sort of jazz.
Yeah, I could see it useful for you as well, in that, like, in your podcasting, if you decide that, okay, this is going to be my dedicated podcasting area, and you decide to go in and figure out, like, okay, I want to go and have an ideal recording setup. That info could definitely be useful.
Yeah, I don't. My apartment is not that fancy where I can section off an entire area. Essentially, I'm essentially streaming and podcasting from where I do my work, from my IRL job. So, nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. But from what I heard, people have said that my audio sounds good, so it's good enough for me.
Yeah. You come through clear to me, and to me, that's honestly the most important thing, is being able to understand what someone is saying.
Yeah. I think I had upgraded, I think a couple years ago, to the Elgato Wave 3 mic, and
Ooh.
I think that's pretty much the last mic upgrade I'll ever need, unless, God forbid, knock on wood, this thing shits the bed. Then I get another one, but no, and then I've had these headphones for several years, and as far as I know, they're still working. They're kind of like premium headphones that are used from like, I mean, the people that have done reviews on these headphones were like professional sound mixers and people that do sound music recording. So they're still going strong. I mean, the ear pads have seen some wear and tear, but gets the job done.
I've got to ask, which pair of headphones are you using?
So they're not sold on their website anymore. They're like the quote unquote cheap Audezi headphones. And by cheap, God, what were they, like $400? I think.
Wow.
I remember. No, yeah. When I think I sold a pair of Logitech headphones that I had first bought as my first pair of headphones when I was really starting to get into this podcasting thing. And then I've like alternated between a bunch of like Blue Yeti mics. Selling those haven't been not that difficult, and yeah, I mean I'm essentially running all of this through my MacBook, and as far as streaming goes, if I'm streaming through my computer, which is typically either when I do podcast episodes or Nintendo Switch games, I've been using Meld Studio, which is absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend if anyone is looking to switch their streaming software, Meld is the way to go. It does not use a lot of computer power, so that thing can.
I do like that.
Yeah. I mean, I got talked into.
I really like that.
I got talked into using them because they were at a PAX East 1 year, and I would just, I got into conversation with one of the people that were there, thinking like, oh, it's like I do stream from time to time, but it's like, OBS can be a pain, and it's like I stream off of a Mac, so it's like no one, the old saying, like Mac can't play games, all that fun shit.
Yeah.
And then, but the person told me that this broadcasting studio, it was initially built from the ground up for Mac users in mind, so that sold me. And I know they've been going through a beta for Windows PC people. So I'm very pleased with what I've been able to do, even if it is like the bare minimum and nothing too crazy and fancy. So.
Fair. Now my reason I asked, I always like finding out what kind of headphones people use. I've got a pair of Audio Technicas. They're ATH M50Xs. I've had these for goodness. I think I've almost had these for a decade.
Damn.
Like I kid you not. I got these back in like 2016. So next year it'll be a decade. Wow. And they've just been absolute rock stars. My favorite thing about them, you can just the cable, you can just take it out and replace it when it dies. Like, what? Replaceable hardware? Yes, I get to keep my beautiful headphones.
Yeah. I can replace cables too. It sounds like it. I mean, I got the main cable connected to both ear ends and then into the headphone jack. So
yeah. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, I absolutely love that feature. Huge fan of Right to Repair.
Yeah. And then for like when I'm gaming, when I'm streaming off of my PS5, I just use plain old Xbox branded headphones that I got for free. It gets the job done.
Oh man. Over there going and using Xbox headphones for Sony PlayStation? I don't know, man.
No, cross-contamination in this day and age? How dare I?
Yeah, you're supposed to be one and only. How dare we go and mix and match? Nah, it's whatever. Honestly, it's whatever works, right?
Yeah, whatever works. And aside from that tangent, let's see what I have in my notes here. Well, okay, so how was the cosplay scene down in MAGFest? I know, I think I wouldn't know, but I imagine, like, directly comparing it to Katsucon, which always follows it, I always feel like MAGFest is sort of low-key, well, not low-key, I don't want to say low-key, like, less intense than what Katsucon is, because Katsucon is the one where every cosplayer under the sun brings out their best and brightest.
So, I've been to Katsu once. I would have to say that MAGFest, while not, it's not traditionally focused on cosplay,
Right.
but I would say the cosplay scene at MAGFest is very strong. There are people that, as far as I know, based off of interacting with them or reading stuff off of social media, they go to MAGFest primarily for the cosplay, and they will do the games and music as like the follow-up item. I think something that I really love about MAGFest is when there are the cosplayers that they really pay attention to MAGFest and know, like, oh, the theme this year, like, this year's theme was Sonic. Obviously, not Sonic directly because copyright and no one wants to get sued, but, Sonic. So, there were people that would go and tailor their cosplay to the theme of MAGFest, and I adore when people do that. Yeah, I feel like
Right.
it may make a little bit of a challenge for them, but they're like, I'm gonna rise to the challenge, and I just see some awesome cosplays come out because of it. Sorry, a little bit of a dry throat. I think this year I've seen a fair few Robotniks. I heard stories of, like, there was this guy that was dressed up as a Robotnik, and this kid comes walking around the hall and turns the corner and sees the Robotnik and just goes and points at him. And the Robotnik looks at him and is like, "Come here, hedgehog!" And they do this cute little chase scene. Kid's laughing his head off, having a great time. I love stuff like that so much. I know last year, if I remember correctly, I saw one or a few really good Samus cosplays, because last year was Metroid. And there were,
Right.
I distinctly remember seeing, like, a full-on, like, suited Samus. I don't even want to know how much time it took to create that,
Yeah.
but people put in the effort for this, and I have to hope that it's as rewarding for them doing it as it is for me getting to see it.
Oh, I'm sure
So,
it is. I'm sure it is. I mean, having known a lot of cosplayers and doing this as long as I have been, yeah, it's definitely rewarding for them, especially if they happen to have their outfit, be a hit or popular amongst the attendees, or if they happen to go viral for a hot second. Um, yeah, I'm sure it's rewarding when they have the finished product done and ready to go. So you said typically whatever MAGFest is themed around, that's the prevailing, like, cosplay mood that everyone tries to go for, or because, like, I'm about to ask, like, aside from Sonic, what other popular, like, gaming franchise was well, I guess the word would be more popular, like, in cosplay abundance.
So let's see here. I definitely, I'm not sure if it's me noticing it more because it's the theme, unless I'm more apt to notice it, or if it legitimately is that more people are going out of their way to match the theme. But in addition to Sonic this year, like just looking through Blue Sky, I've seen everything from. Oh man, I'm just trying to remember. Like there are apparently people doing Sega characters that I can't even identify.
Sure.
Uh, I see people talking about building a pinball machine, which is just awesome. I love that. There's a Sephiroth. I know I saw more in a few like Squid Kids and Octolings from Splatoon. I want to say there was a Fire Emblem, like enough people for a Fire Emblem photo shoot. There's just like in full on schedule full of photo shoots. See if I can pull up guidebook really quick for us. Let's see here. Da-da,
And do people?
da-da.
Because I actually do seem to remember. Do people know the theme based on how MAGFest does their logo? Because I swear I saw this year's logo and it was very Sonic coded. Like the exact same Sonic the Hedgehog font. And then I want to say 1 year you were right. The one that Metroid was popular, the MAGFest like font was in the Metroid font. Is that how they go about their theming?
My understanding is that the theme gets officially announced, and we absolutely do make all the signage go to match the theme.
Sure.
We have a team that they're, you know, most of these people, actually not even most, like 99% of the people involved with MAGFest are volunteers. So when I say staff, you know, still someone going and volunteering their time. It's just they volunteered enough that they've become integral to some working aspect of that particular department. Um, but we have a team of volunteers that will just go and make signage that matches the theme. You know, they'll take in requests and they'll just go and pump out gorgeous signage. Just amazing stuff. For the cosplay question, really quick, yeah, there were photo shoots for my favorite one to start things off, and they deserve it. A photographer photo shoot, so photo shoot for photographers. Capcom, Marvel, Nickelodeon, Persona, Team Fortress 2, Overwatch, Farming Sims, Dead by Daylight, Guilty Gear, like the list goes on. For those that are curious, the entire MAGFest schedule is available by Guidebook, in Guidebook, which is an app for I believe both Android and Apple.
Sure.
And gives you nice filters for like I want to see photo shoot stuff and all of that. But yeah, I have to imagine more than a few people end up finding out the theme not from an official announcement, but from either word of mouth or deducing it based off of what the signage looks like throughout the year. I know I've more than once figured it out just by like looking at it months after it's been announced because I just remained oblivious to it being announced, and I'm like, oh. Huh, that's the theme this year. That's really cool. They did a good job. I'm sure there are people that are like, what? Your staff. You should be aware of it. But I like being surprised. Keeps
Sure.
life nice and interesting for me.
Sure. Sure. Okay, let's see here. So I have here written down that you've been going to con for a while. Do you know how long specifically?
My first convention was in 2009, November of 2009. So I will hit. I'll hit 2 decades of intermittent con going in 4 years.
So you started a little bit before I did. Okay. So well, so then yeah, how what is the how to phrase? Well, I mean, phrasing the question of what are the differences like and this may be ED for you, or it may not be, but differences between staffing the con versus being strictly an attendee.
That's a pretty good one. For me, because of the way that I do my staffing, where I try to I try to make sure that I have my stuff done before the con, so I don't have a lot to do during it. I feel like I get more of the uh, traditional like attendee enjoyment of it during the festival.
Sure.
But I would say I I would almost say it kind of feels like being a volunteer or staff member for MAGFest at least. It's almost like being a part of the party that is inside of the party. I'm not going to say it's only the cool kids or anything because I don't think any of that's true, but it's definitely you know when you get there that you are there with people that also love it enough that they are willing to give it that time and unpaid labor to go and put it on and make it what they want it to be.
Yeah.
That way everyone can enjoy that thing.
Yeah.
I think one of the big to me perks, and I'm sure there are people that don't necessarily agree, but it being there for load in, I feel like I have 3 extra days of MAGFest. Because I'll typically get there Monday, and I start doing load in. I'm already there with other department members, and these people are like, they're friends of mine. I love seeing them. I love hanging out with them. So, that's already like, as soon as I get to the Gaylord on Monday, it doesn't even have to look like MAGFest yet. It just like, it's MAGFest time. We're here. We're doing this. Let's have a MAGFest. And it gets me pumped up. And then, I go and have a blast. I do the load-in stuff. I get things set up. Go and do the whole MAGFest thing, and then go and do the breakdown. And come Monday, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I've had a absolute blast of a time.
Yeah.
A little sad that it's over, but it's time to get home. Time to go and spend time with, my wife was here this time, but last year, time to spend time with the pre-wife, spend time with our boys, our 3 fur children, and go and figure out like, okay, this went well. I really liked that. I want to improve on this thing. I wonder if I can like do this thing next year to go and do that. So it's a nice little cycle. But I'd say one of the perks is it almost feels like MAGFest is starting early for you.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, just touching on. Sorry, I thought I heard something. I guess touching on the theme of it all. Well, just basically on any convention. I'm interested to see how this theme plays out for PAX East here, because from what I saw, the logo itself is themed to look like graffiti, and I don't know if I like that very much. I very much preferred, PAX East, like, prior themed, like one where they were celebrating, like, 20 years. I think 20 or 10. I don't know how long it's been. There was one themed around space exploration that I really liked. There was one themed around retro gaming, which I really, really liked. So I'm interested to I'm interested to see how this graffiti-like theme plays out in like con memorabilia, like either through their merch or like their programming. Where do you typically?
Yeah, I'd be.
Go ahead.
I would be really interested to see how that theme plays out. Imagine that, like, while you're at PAX, they give you, like, this little PAX branded Nintendo Switch, and the whole goal is like, yeah, it's graffiti, so everyone's playing Splatoon.
Oh,
That
yeah.
would be funny.
Yeah, I'm interested to see because I've noticed, and I've talked about this on previous episode with friends that have been to PAX East, but like that's a gaming convention. Cosplay kind of takes a back seat. Like I don't see like a lot of the cosplay that I do tend to see is either in spaces in the expo hall that have a giant ass like amount of room where you're not too crowded by all the booths, or they're up in the entryway of the convention center where you have photographers stationed there taking photos of people as they pass by. Um, yeah, I'm curious.
I'm interested to find out like how they managed to pull that off. I know MAGFest, and I heard this secondhand. So if anyone has information that disagrees, like, you know, gotta call it out as I hear it, as I can. But my understanding is that the cosplay scene at MAGFest didn't actually pick up until we moved into the Gaylord. Now I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just Gaylord is better suited than our previous locations were. For what it's worth, I've only ever been at MAGFest since it's been at the Gaylord, so I can't speak to the previous locations. But it's interesting to hear that PAX East has managed to like have this almost dedicated cosplay area and keep the focus on the
They
games.
do, yeah. Yeah, no, I believe you because I mean the reason why with Capcom being at the Gaylord, I mean you obviously have been at the resort. It's
Mm-hmm.
fucking huge.
It
There's
is.
like a giant water fountain. It just screamed photo shoot opportunity with the scenery that's there. There's the iconic gazebo. There's the stuff that's
Oh yeah.
there's the stuff right outside the convention when you're down by the harbor. You're down by the water. That's,
Yeah.
I would say you saying that cosplay picked up once it moved into the gay ward, that does not surprise me. Not one bit.
You know, as you put it that way, it does kind of make sense that like the venue would almost kind of attract that kind of like mindset of like, oh man, there's such picturesque stuff. I gotta have my really nice cosplay, get some really good pictures.
Yep.
These are gonna go well. People really like these. I can definitely see that like thought process.
So, where do you typically travel for cons? Like, do you attend them mostly on the East Coast then? Here I am assuming that's
Um,
where you're based.
well, I'm in Northern Virginia. This is home base. Bought a house out here. Um, I have been to conventions out on the West Coast. I went to one. That was Portland Retro Gaming, because I'm also a video game collector. I
Okay.
collect GameCube primarily, but I've dabbled a little bit in the PS2 since PS2 is more of my nostalgia item. I was a PlayStation 2 kid when I was growing up, but I always really liked the GameCube and a lot of the games that you can get on it, so made sure I got a lot of the classics there. Um, but yeah, so I went to Portland Retro Gaming because a collector community that I'm in, they were really big fans of that one. So I just so happened to really love going to Portland. My best friend lives out there, so I went out to it and just had a nice like 2 week vacation where part of it was going to the Retro Gaming Expo, and the rest of it was just like wandering around the city, finding cool and interesting things to do. Um, Typically, though, MagFest is my like one and only convention. I I tend to live a pretty busy life. I do a lot of things. My weekends are either fairly intermittent. I'm either at home like, oh my god, I need to clean because I didn't clean over the week and everything looks like a mess and it's bothering me, or I'm out and about like I've got a show that I'll do lights at. I'm gonna go and spend time with my dad up in Pennsylvania, or going traveling somewhere. This year I'll actually be going out to Taiwan in fall to go and see a new family, since my wife and I just recently got married. I want to go and meet the in-laws, go and celebrate the traditions, and enjoy some really, really good cuisine. I'm super excited for the food. If it's not obvious, I am a foodie. You can almost definitely bribe me into doing most things if you bribe me with interesting food.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. My brother's telling me to get ready to possibly try some sushi or some food or some fish. I'm not a big fish guy, so that might be the one thing I'm gonna have to try to skip out on when we're in Japan.
I would almost beg you to not skip out on it. You there? Wow, that was weird. There are definitely some types of fish that will taste fishier. Probably best to avoid those. But going for like some of the safer choices, like I would say salmon, bluefin tuna, yellowtail, those are pretty safe bets. And if you just dip it in a little bit of the soy sauce and wasabi, you'll be like, oh, this is good. This is like heaven for my tongue. Because it's such a tender cut of meat.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We will see. I'm very excited to check out the ramen down there. See what
Oh,
it's like.
dude. Yeah. Speaking my language.
Yeah, and me particularly. I'm a huge coffee guy. So
Ooh.
learning that apparently Japan is one of the top countries in the world that exports the most coffee, which means
Really?
it's a big deal. Yeah, I tell this to people and they're like, "Really?" It's like, I know my exact thought. They're like, "Let me." When I looked this up, they were ranked.
Yeah, I gotta
I'm
look
typing
this up
it in
myself.
right now. How big is coffee in Japan? When I looked this up last time, they're the third biggest importer of coffee.
Okay. I can see importer. I didn't expect them to be an exporter.
No, I think that's what I meant.
But,
Import, not export.
Gotcha.
This is
Although,
in a Reddit post from 6
interesting
years ago.
interesting fact for you. And this does come from Gen AI, so take that for what you will. But apparently in 2002, Japan was the 54th largest exporter of coffee in the world. It's
2002?
actually, yeah, that's actually pretty significant placing. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm checking out the actual source now. It came from oec.world. I don't really know this website, but apparently, yeah, 54th largest exporter. But I could definitely see them being one of the top importers. Like their work culture, coffee and the like very, how do I put it? Not Puritan, but like they're very strong focus on work. Coffee tends to like lend itself very synergistically towards strong work ethics.
Right.
I'm not saying that one mandates the other, but when someone needs energy, coffee is a fantastic way of getting it.
I'm just trying to find. This blog post does not have a friggin' date listed. But it says here that like it may surprise you to learn that Japan is usually ranked around third or fourth in the world every year for the amount of coffee it drinks. Okay. Alright. Sure. I'm excited to try their flavors. Maybe try to bring some home with me. I don't know.
You'll definitely have to let me know how you like it.
Yeah. Well, actually, and it speaks another way to speak your language up, because I've been starting to. As of now, I think my quote-unquote shopping wish list is done. Just out of the immediate hopes, because I had promised my two best friends I would get them something from Japan. One of them being into certain anime, so that shouldn't be too hard to find. Another one big into Zelda, that shouldn't be too hard to find. Me myself, I actually got spurred on to this idea from some YouTubers that I follow that have done Japan trips, and they go retro game shopping, and there are a
Nice.
couple of games that I want to hopefully maybe try to find, because I mean I have them, but the Japanese box art is infinitely cooler than the one we got in the States. So the ones I have listed, and I'm sure you can look it up later on. Wind Waker, got a cool box art. Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door. The original first Smash Brothers for the N64, that box art is rad. And I want to see if I can just grab any of my favorite Final Fantasies, if I could try to grab them.
Nice.
And then
Yeah, I have heard that Japanese box art, the collector community that I'm a part of, their podcast. I'm just gonna give them a quick plug, just because that's how we do. Collector's Quest podcast. But the hosts were discussing box art at one point, and apparently for some reason Japan just they keep the really good box art for themselves, and we get sometimes we get good stuff, other times we get weird stuff, and it's like, what is this? But you look at the Japanese box art, and it's like, oh, this is cool. Why didn't we have this?
yeah,
I don't know why.
It's very weird. It's very weird. It's like how the one common thing I know is that every single Kirby game, Japan shows Kirby, as he is, happy and smiley. We show him as if he's pissed off at someone. He's always got the angry eyebrows on. It's like, why are you angry? Why? Every Kirby game. American boxer. He's pissed off the world.
Yeah.
And then, I'm hoping maybe some Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy figurines, anything Nintendo based, or some of my favorite Pokemon if we happen to hit up a Pokemon Center down there. So
Nice. I know for anime, one of the places that you'll have the best luck would be Akihabara.
that's where we're going. That's one spot.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's it's basically anime Mecca.
That's what I know. Yep. So we will have to wait and see. Have you been to a PAX before in your years of traveling to conventions?
Not yet.
Really?
I would like to go. Yeah.
Huh.
I have friends that have gone every year. They even go out to actual PAX on the West Coast. And I'm just like, how do you afford this? But
yeah.
one year it's gonna be the mission of the year. We're gonna go to PAX. So once I do, I'll let you know.
Yeah. I mean, East is my only option because that just makes more sense to me. Since
Yeah.
it's more,
I'm assuming you're East Coast based as well.
I'm in Rhode Island, so Boston's only a train ride
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, it's like your backyard, basically, right?
Pretty much. And then I have
Oh, man.
I have a preferred hotel already booked because I got my media pass approved. So
Nice.
I don't think Japan will ruin me. We will have to find out. But those are my only two big travel plans this year. And then I'm probably just gonna stay home and save up money for the next Disney World trip I have set.
I haven't checked I haven't checked how much it is from $1 to yen, but my understanding is that once you're in Japan, things are generally a lot cheaper than they are over here in the States.
I've been
Even when it's like 100 yen is $1, their economy just tends to be a lot cheaper than it is here.
I was
I
hearing
think.
that as of now, the dollar is stronger in Japan, which means I think that means we get more of our buck. I think that's what it means. We'll get more yen.
Yeah. Yeah, when the dollar is stronger, your dollar, like, when the dollar is stronger compared to wherever it is that you're going, your dollar will typically go longer, but it also depends on, like, how much things cost over there in their currency. So,
I mean, we'll have to see.
a whole bunch of translation to figure that stuff out.
Yeah, we'll have to see because we're going straight in the middle of cherry blossom season. That's why they picked the date that they
Ooh.
wanted to go. So.
Ooh. Oh yeah. Like so $1 is equal to 155 yen.
Oh, you just looked it up just
In
now.
short, your dollar's gonna go a really long way.
Oh, well, I hope so. So we will see. I mean, everything's taken care of as far as now. Whatever remains is just souvenir shopping and food. That's it.
Nice. And of course getting the souvenirs back home.
Trying, yeah. Hopefully, I don't want to. I don't want to buy. I don't want to go too crazy to a point where I can't, bring stuff home.
True.
Is there one con in particular that you would like to go to that's sort of on your bucket list?
On the bucket list. To be honest, this one's gonna kind of come out of left field, but I would love to go to a Star Trek convention with my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, we're both, he was a Trekkie before me. He got me into, watching Star Trek. Like, I have fond memories of, like, watching, The Next Generation with him, including one where he was sitting there having some coffee ice cream, and he's like, yeah, I asked if I can have some. He says, you wouldn't like it, it's coffee ice cream. And I'm like, well, let me try it. I went and have some, and he's like, I like it. And he's like, I thought this was safe from you. But yeah, I would love to go to a Star Trek convention with him. I think both of us would actually have a lot of fun doing that. And having things that he and I can connect on is really fun. For a long while, like, we would go skiing together. Unfortunately, I fell out of love with skiing. He still absolutely adores it. We go camping, but he tends to like going a little more extreme in his camping than I do. He really loves roughing it. I had fun.
Right. Okay.
I would go again. I really prefer having a better toilet. Like, toilets kind of like matter to me. I'm even kind of weird. I don't like going to the bathroom in public. If I can, I prefer to wait until I'm home, just because public bathrooms.
That's valid.
Yeah.
I've heard of people that are averse to public toilets and whatnot.
Yeah. So when he told me that we're gonna go camping in the rough and that we have a toilet tent, I was just like, oh, good. I'm excited. It was an experience. I would do it again. But yeah, I kind of prefer having, like, I even preferred the campsites that we went to where there was a pit toilet, whereas Dad likes being absolutely nowhere near anyone else when he's camping. But my dad's always been like a I like being out by myself kind of a guy, and I respect it.
Sure.
But I think Star Trek convention would be really a thing that he and I would both be able to be like, yeah, this was fun. We had a good time. So yeah.
Is there any Star Star Trek convention in particular that you're like maybe gunning for, or is it just whatever happens to be in the area?
Whatever happens to be in the area or most convenient for both of us to go and meet up at. Him being retired these days, he's out there traveling the entire country, driving along in his Jeep Gladiator, and just like setting up camp anywhere he can.
Right.
So he has a lot of room. I think I just need to like really schedule it with him. So I think when I go up there next weekend to go and spend time with him, I'm just gonna be like, all right, Dad, I know you go camping a lot, you're doing all this. We're going to a Star Trek convention. I need you to figure out what, like, we're gonna figure out which one works best for both of us to go to, and we are going.
Yeah. Yeah, why the hell not? Well, so I'm just looking at the time. We're a little over an hour. I don't want to keep you too much longer, so let me see. So you've been doing this. Okay, so I mean, is there anything else about MAGFest that you want to talk about that you really loved? Before I hit you with this last like little question that I have in my notes.
I think the thing that I love most about MagFest, for on a personal level, the thing I love most is that I've had a harder time finding a video game that I've had a harder time not finding a video game that I want to play. Like there was one year where I was walking around like, man, I really want to play Ski Free 2000. And I didn't even remember the name of it. I just knew it was the skiing game where the Yeti comes and eats you if you do terribly. And I wander over to Computer Museum, and what do you know? It happens to be on one of the computers, so I just sit down and play it for a little bit. And I'm like, this is great. Like, you will have a hard time finding a game that isn't there. I love that fact. It doesn't matter what it is. You will have a difficult time not finding it. Just ask around, and you'll be able to find it. I bet you that. Or just being able to do some random music thing or enjoy like a musician going out. But I think on a less personal level, something that I love about MagFest is that they legitimately try to be an event for anyone. They want people to feel safe. They want people to be whoever it is that they are, and to be welcomed as that. They don't care about your political ideology or anything like that. They just care that you want to come and have a good time. And they want to protect that and make sure that anyone is able to do that. And I think that matters. I really respect and resonate with an organization that is trying so hard to do that for people. Because, it honestly, it doesn't matter what your politics are or anything, it can be a terrible month for anyone. Like, January's hard. The holidays are hard. You might sit there and be like, man, I lost my grandmother a couple years ago, or I lost my aunt, my uncle. And, you go through, for us, go through Hanukkah, for someone else, maybe Kwanzaa or Christmas. And you really feel that loss, and it hurts. But then January comes, and it's MagFest, and you're able to go and have a really good time. And I absolutely adore it for that reason. So, a little bit of a two-parter there.
Yeah. No, I believe it. I mean, it's definitely, my past history CatCon means that I'm familiar with the area, so it's definitely, when I have a definite free year when I'm not doing too much traveling, I would like to go to a MagFest one day. Just to see what all the hubbub is about. See what it's like.
Well, obviously keep me in the loop when you do. We'll go and meet up in person, and I'll be able to show you some of the things. I feel it's my duty as a MAGFest vet to show the MAGFest newbies, like, these are some of the cool things that you should know about.
So, I guess to end it, as best as you can describe, you going to conventions, since 2009, how has the overall convention scene, how has it changed in your eyes from back then to what it is now?
Um, well, I'm able to afford having a hotel room on my own, which has become amazing. It is easier with friends, of course, so I always stay with friends, but you know, that I've grown up and gotten a big person job is nice. Beyond that though, throughout the ones that I've seen, I feel like a lot of the change is seeing some of the conventions that I've gone to. Some of them have kind of stagnated. Like I've heard that Neko, if I were to go there, it would feel a lot like the same as when I regularly went, which, that can be nice, but I'm a fan of change. I know it can be scary, it's not always in the direction that we want, but seeing things change and grow, like the amount of people that go to MAG, it's even more these days than it was when I first started going. And we're only talking about from like 2017 to 2025. And 2017 I was able to like just kind of walk in and buy a badge day of, and it was cool. I love that. Now we're sitting there in the Slack and we have a bot watching all of the badges getting
Now
sold
it's a
and
mad
play
dash.
like,
Yep.
yeah, we're almost like, no one's putting money on it or anything, but we're jokingly putting bets like, hey, I think it's gonna sell out on this day. And you know, there's unfortunately there's only so much that we can do about that, since the amount of people that we can have, it is limited based off of like safety concerns in the hotel. If we had, like, we had a fire drill this year, during Thursday, and all of the people that were in the expo area had to leave the expo area. And that was a lot of people, and we were nice, organized. No one got trampled or anything like that. Everyone listened to instructions, and we all got back in a relatively timely manner. No one was like out there for very long freezing, but like, you know, finding out that it's sold out, like, oh my god, we are, as a festival, we are growing. And so getting to see that growth is awesome, because everyone that's going there, they're going there because they want to have a good time. And that, so seeing the growth but maintaining that, like, we're here to have a good time, that's so cool to me.
Yeah. No, yeah, cons have only gotten more popular, more bigger since I've been starting to go. Um, I definitely feel that mad dash vibes of trying to get an attendee badge, although I continue to be amazed and feel fortunate enough that mostly just this show is still viable enough to qualify for a media badge. So that's how I've been going to PAX East the last couple of years, and it's been a big help and a good, healthy motivator to fight off the imposter syndrome that I get.
Well, I don't think you need to have imposter syndrome. You've managed to have quite a few good questions for me. I'll be honest, that last one, I didn't expect to have. I didn't expect to. I didn't expect it at all. So like that completely caught me off guard. Which I think that's actually a sign of a good interviewer, is that you can keep some surprises in your bag and like pull them out when you're ready.
That does mean a lot, because I don't know if you listened to the last episode, because I was just contemplating about this being the last season, because I was having incredibly tough time trying to find guests for the show. I'm hoping that this is a good omen sign of things to come, because I do have other stuff set, like in my little schedule app here, listed out month to month. So I'm hoping, everything else goes out without a hitch. But thank you for taking the time and talking about MAGFest. This was fascinating, even if I didn't understand half of the shit you were talking about for the AV portion. I'm sure someone's gonna love it. I'm sure. So, if anyone wants to follow your work ramblings, where would they go?
Well, if you want to find me on Blue Sky, I am there. I am Toasty Boy. I'm sure there's more than a few people that I've annoyed on there because I have opinions and I like data. You can also find me on Discord, Hardstyle Toaster. And other than that, kind of have to find me out in the world and get to talk to me. Then you get my phone number. That's always the easiest way to get a hold of me. But if you happen to be out and about somewhere where nerds are collected and you see somebody wearing a Charizard beanie, reach out. There's a significant chance that might be me.
Alright, and hopefully I will have the next episode for you guys set at some point later this month, because it hit me during the show that nope, February starts today, and I got another episode hopefully set for this month. So with a recurring favorite guest of mine, so I just got to get in touch with her to nail down a date. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening and watching if you're watching live, and I will see you